The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to the raw and uncensored Ambitchious Podcast. I'm your host, the original HBIC, Katie Boyd. During our time here together, I will be instilling all of the strength, power, and determination you will need to use the very stones thrown at you to build your ultimate empire. We will redefine the word bitch from the derogatory to the acronym, being in total control of herself. So let's adjust our crowns and prepare to live life ambitiously. Oh yeah, here I am, the original HBSC, Katie motherfucking Boyd. And over here is the love of my life, because today is all about how to get the love you truly desire. The love of my life, Matthew Martin Babine.
Oh, that's so sweet. You're the love of my life, too.
Don't get too fucking excited. Because you know this shit's going to go down the hill real quick.
You think so?
Probably. I mean, you know, that's what happens on here on the Ambitchious Podcast.
This is the love.
It's the love Ambitchious Podcast.
Connection.
Are you Gopher?
I am Gopher.
Who am I?
Julie.
Oh, is she cute?
I don't know. I just remember a couple of names from Love Boat. I don't know. It's like a long time ago.
Do you have any nicknames for him other than Big Bernard?
Oh, my God, boy. Fuckface, mostly. Scallywag.
I always hear love of my life.
Oh, my God, never. I'm not a very verbal, loving person.
Really?
No. You know that.
I'll remember some words when we get to the number 4.
Oh, Jesus Christ. As you can see, today's podcast is all about getting the love that you desire, no matter what it is. I mean, obviously, we're talking about marriage, but it could be in your relationship.
Yes.
Pretty much your relationships. Because if you're scheduling a booty call with your parents, it's kind of fucking strange.
It's your relationship.
We're going back to Henry VIII times.
It's your significant lover.
Absolutely.
Lover.
Yeah. But before we start, I always like to talk about two things. One is get your ass on over to kbmsu.com and check out all of the amazing stuff that we have to offer. And secondly, the most important person in my life, Ayana, owner of hairskinandlash.com. She is amazing. She keeps me looking on point, so I get laid. Right?
Yes,
I mean, Matt would probably bang me if I had no lashes and no eyebrows, because he's that kind of a sick fuck.
No, I'm not a sick fuck, but she makes you look.
He's like, oh.
I didn't think anyone could be more beautiful, but she does it.
Today we're having Dr. Evil sex. Today we're having hairless cat sex.
Hairless cat sex,
yeah,
yes.
That's what we do.
No hair.
Matt likes to play that game.
Yeah.
Ew. Matt has a boner, I already know. I can feel it. Like the energy of his pants coming.
I don't, but, you know. If we keep going in this podcast, maybe. I don't know.
We don't call him Big Bernard for nothing
Take
over
it
here,
easy,
people.
Bernard.
Hold on, let me capture that in the show notes.
Yeah, you guys always check out our show notes, because our friend over here, Mr. Ed Sullivan, does such a great job putting all of the funnies.
He's like a stenographer. He's like a freaking stenographer.
He really is. So many of you guys out there in Ambitchious land have been asking me, how do you and Matt have such an awesome relationship? First of all, you don't live with us, so you don't see what actually happens behind closed doors.
That's what you need.
I mean, I see when the cameras are off.
Right.
The cameras
Shit gets weird.
Or just go back and watch Ambitchious battles.
The brawls.
The brawls.
The top 5 brawls.
The top 5 brawls. We had some good brawls. And,
so many people come up to me like out and about, and they're like, oh, my favorite podcast was whatever, episode whatever, number da-da-da-da-da, Ambitchious Brawls. It was so awesome. Because they see us on this podcast, and they're like, oh, I want a relationship with Matt and Katie. Yeah. Now, obviously, I'm busting balls,
right?
But we have an amazing relationship, and the reason why we have an amazing relationship is because we work really fucking hard on it.
Work hard,
and we put 110% of ourselves into our relationship, because I feel like, and you can tell me to go fuck myself, Matt, but I feel like so many people work so hard to find the love of their life, and then they get it, and then they're just like, oh, it's like an old shoe.
Don't pay attention to it.
And then they become like 50th on the list of priorities, and that's not okay.
Yeah.
Right? You've been looking for this person your whole life. You've been searching for this person your whole life. You've been trying to manifest this person for your whole life, and then you get them, and then you just treat them like yesterday's garbage.
Not good.
Not good.
Yeah.
So in the last year, Matt and I have had some huge evolutions in everything, in our business, our finances, our companies, our circle of friends, our peer groups, like our opportunities, all the things that we're doing have like really leveled up.
Absolutely.
And within that happening, we've also been doing a lot of traveling too for work, which is awesome. But within that, what happens is, and I know you guys out there in Ambitchious Land are like, yes, we totally understand what you're saying. With that comes issues. So I always say different level, different devil. Just because you make more money or you travel more, or you have a better or a more lavish lifestyle, you have more freedom or whatever the case may be, does not mean it gets easier. A lot of times it gets harder in different ways. And it just puts these things out in front of you that you have to like navigate through.
Yes.
And I think, and I'm speaking for myself, in the last couple of years, we've struggled with a lot of things in our relationship because we are learning like this new way of being and this new way of acting and being so intentional with everything we're doing. And with that came a lot of strife in our marriage. And there was a lot of times in the last year for both of us where we had like really, as you guys out there in Ambitchious Land know, some knockdown, drag out fights, some disagreements. There's been a lot of bickering and arguing and disagreeing, right?
Yeah.
But we had to sit down in the last couple months and really say, okay, our lives are going in this different direction. How do we stay together forever? Like I took my marriage vows very seriously, and I know that you did as well.
Absolutely.
And we entered into this marriage very woke and knowing what we both desired from our relationship.
Right.
But life sometimes gets in the way.
Well, it's like you said, we're leveling up, right? So when you level up, you have to, it's like a muscle. I used to lift, let's say, 50 pounds,
right,
for whatever the case may be. And now we're lifting 100 pounds. With that's going to come pressure, right?
Yes.
So if you don't know how to lift the weight or you don't know how to adapt, there's a problem.
Right.
But I think the best thing, with us is we actually are always searching for solutions and coming back to base. Base is, I love you more than anything in the world. You love me more than anything in the world. Now let's learn from this and let's grow together. And bringing it up and talking about things is huge.
Right.
It's the one that's like, somebody would say to me that I would know would be like, I haven't talked to my wife in 3 weeks. This is, because I'm pissed off or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, I couldn't
be dead.
I couldn't imagine not talking to you for 3 weeks. It wouldn't happen. If we have a disagreement or something comes up that we need to work, and it's, marriage is evolution. All of the, after the day that your wedding day that was unbelievable, or maybe not, some weddings are not.
True.
But when you're married, that fairy tale or whatever you created, it goes by very quickly.
Oh yeah.
And then you are together. And then, okay, so now you're together, what are you going to do? And you have to have rules. It's like you can't open a business and not have rules. You can't get into a marriage and not have rules and be able to communicate and work with each other. You're going to have battles. That's life. Unless you're like, dead, walking around, not really
not
having any emotion.
Right.
You're going to have, and we're both two powerful beings, right? And we're together, and
it could be a struggle.
Can be a struggle, and we have to be able to know how to always come back to base, no matter what's going on in our lives. And I think we've been doing a really good job of that.
We have, and we've been working it. And all the things we're going to teach you today are part of our lives and what we do to work it out, to elevate our marriage, to take our relationship to the next level, and to fix problems before they get out of fucking hand, and then you end up in divorce court.
Right, and to be able to. Right when something happens, we deal with it then.
Yes.
And, if something, we don't hold on to stuff for time. So we'll go over some of the techniques that we work on.
Absolutely.
And things that we do.
So one of the first things is around Christmas time, Matt and I were, Christmas time is like more, we don't really do the holiday stuff. So when everyone else is running around like a chicken with their head cut off, we're sitting by the fire and we're enjoying each other.
Right.
And one night I said, Matt, like we have these date nights and they're usually like go out to dinner, have drinks.
Right.
That's fine and well and good, but there's no like, I don't know, there's no pomp and circumstance. There's no fun. Like, do you remember when you were like a little kid and you'd go to like all these different places and life was just like so exciting? And I was like, how can I be more childlike? Because that's one of the things that I am working on this year is to become more how I was when I was a little kid. Because you're just carefree and you're just like full of life and zest and none of that is tamped down. So I was like, hey, let's make a list of all the things that we can do for date night. Because I truly believe, and Matt and I have date night every week, I truly believe that you need that time where it's like our phones are off. There's no talking about work. We're only talking about ourselves and our life and our love and our marriage and whatever we're doing and fun things like traveling
absolutely.
and doing, setting different goals and achieving different successes or whatever. But, we're not complaining about a client that owes us money or like this person, did this or that person did that. It's more like about nice things,
right?
Keeping it in the high vibrational energetic flow. So we sat down one night and we compiled a list of date night ideas. And I want to go over the list that we compiled because I think that you guys should really sit down and reinvigorate your relationship by doing stuff that's different, because we get so stuck in these ruts, right?
Right.
It's like I go to the same restaurant, order the same food, the same thing, the same shit, the same conversation.
Absolutely.
And then what happens is, and I know a lot of you guys out there understand this, like you're looking across the table at your spouse and you're like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
And why did I like you in the first place? And why the fuck did I marry you?
Yeah.
This is what happens to so many of our friends.
So many people. And I refuse. It's not going to happen to us.
No, absolutely not. Well, because we're doing our work.
No, it's funny. What did I say to you when we were on our way to the podcast today? When, you talked about childlike. What did I say to you? I said, "Oh my God, the other day I saw you, and I saw your small self. I saw you as like 10 or 12 or 11 or 10 or whatever."
Oh, and I was at fat camp?
No, not fat camp. It was no fat camp. That was always a joke I busted your balls about. But there was no fat camp. And that's funny. No, not the fat camp.
Yes.
And it was like, oh my God, I just see little Katie. Even when you were like saying something kind of like, rude to me or something like, get out of here, or I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so unbelievable.
We're just big kids.
But I just noticed that about you. And I think it's because of this year really starting to
step into
that energy of, doing new things and not forgetting why we got together in the first place.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it wasn't just to hang out and spend 30 years together as a
till one of us shit the bed and die.
50-year sentence.
Right. And that's what so many people think and say.
Absolutely.
Like, oh, I'm just waiting for this old fuck to die. It's like, what?
And I'm not staying in this marriage just to do time. Right. I mean, you're not either.
It's an institution though, Matt. It's an institution.
It's an institution. I don't want to be anything that's an institution.
Amen. So I'm going to read some things to you and you guys could give your 2 cents, but so I made this list and I was like, what if we recreate our first date? How fun would that be?
Yes.
Even though our first date was a total shit show.
Even though we got food poisoning. You got food poisoning.
Yeah,
that was
got
fine.
food poisoning. I got like a $400 speeding ticket. I got my iPod stolen. Matt tried to kiss me like 17 times. He told me to put my dog to sleep.
I grew up in the 80s,
I love how like he's laughing. He's like, you remember that, right? Matt's like, that dog, you should really put it to sleep. I'm like, oh, you're not getting laid tonight, buddy.
Well, that backfired on me because I was the only one crying over that dog that day when it finally passed.
I know. So what about recreating your first date and remembering like the person that you fell in love with in the first place?
Yeah, the excitement of waiting for you to come in and me being at the bar 5 hours early waiting for you.
Oh my God. Well, you had to get your drink on.
Having a martini.
Oh, 5 or 6. And then what about, I was thinking about taking an Enneagram together. So we've taken our Enneagrams. It's a personality test. And when you and your spouse or your significant other take this Enneagram test with each other and you find out that like I'm an 8 and you're a 3 or whatever.
Right.
And you can start being like, oh, if you're this and I'm that, maybe these are better ways to communicate with each other or be with each other.
Yeah, because I mean, we just came from total different backgrounds, total different everything. We found each other.
Different personalities,
different
experiences,
strengths, different weaknesses.
Right.
All these different things, and now we melded it together, and we're in a marriage, and we live together, and we have all of these other things going on, and to know how the other person ticks, is huge, right? So you kind of know by taking that test, and like, oh, you like to be able to control something, or I just don't want to do that.
Or that makes me feel safe, or
I make rules, or I have regulations, and everyone has rules and regulations. But guess what? We don't have the directions. We're trying to play Monopoly and we don't have the rule book.
Totally.
Right? So this really frees it up where it's like, you know your rules. You know my rules. I know your rules.
Yep.
And you're going to still butt heads sometimes, but at least you know, and you can go back again to base and say,
100%.
Oh, this is how she ticks. This is how I work. This is how we work.
And I was also like, well, there's like, I wrote down 45 of them, so I'm not going to say all of them, but these are all things that this year I am going to accomplish with you. We're going to do together. Yes. But another one was go on a food crawl. So if you guys have never done a food crawl, it's like one of my favorite things in the whole world.
And if you've ever gone on a food crawl with us, you can't hang.
No, you pussies.
And we were with some folks like about a month or so ago, and we go, well, we're going to go to the next place. Well, we just went to that other place.
I was like, but we're doing a food crawl.
You just have one appetizer, and then you go to the next place. You go to the next place.
So what you do is, on a food crawl, you pick like a couple different restaurants that are in like a very similar vicinity, so you could walk there or drive there really quickly.
Driving an hour and a half to each place.
But so what you do is you have an appetizer one place, and then you go to it for an entree somewhere else, and you have dessert somewhere else, and you have an after dinner drink somewhere else. And it's just really fun because it's like different energy everywhere you go and different environment. Yep. And it's just like, I don't know, it's just something different. We've done a couple food crawls with Karina, and we took her little friend once to a food crawl. And by the third place, he was shitting his pants at this bubble tea shop because he's like, you fuckers can eat. And I'm like, hell yeah.
I go, Karina, what happened to your friend? He's in the bathroom still. And it was
shitting his brains
this little bubble tea restaurant.
My God, it was awful.
And then, people are in line waiting for the bubble tea. All you do is hear...
It was not a good situation. It was not a good situation. The other thing I was saying to Matt is we live in Boston. I know a lot of you guys are listening to Ambitchious from all over the world, but we are from Boston originally. And I was saying to him the other day, I go, do you know that I never walked the Freedom Trail? Like I've never walked the Freedom Trail.
Well, I think it's like everybody.
That's sick.
It's if you live somewhere, you kind of take it for granted and you just...
Have you ever been on a duck boat?
I've never been on a duck boat.
Have you ever been on the Swans in Boston Common?
I have, but it was a long time ago.
Oh, that's when that girl puked in the bag, right? Oh,
the vivid memory. I was like 5 years old. This young girl was probably in college or something, and she was probably drinking a little too much, and I'm like 5. Auntie, are we going on the Swan boat? And this woman was just like barfing into this popcorn box. And it was like, I never forget it all my life. And I'm like, oh my God.
That's what Matt will remember for the rest of his days. Or, so we're going to do that this year. We're going to walk the Freedom.
Absolutely.
Go to a Broadway show. Go to New York City, right? Yep. Or like, if it snows, go sledding. Remember when you used to like the snow would happen? You'd be like, oh my God, let's get the inner tubes and go sledding, right?
Yeah. And we live in New England where it's always cold.
Always.
We like snowshoeing or stuff like that. Stuff that I never did as a kid.
Yeah.
But now we're doing all these different things.
Or go to the drive-in. We found a drive-in near us. It's supposed to be so fun. Like how fun would a drive-in movie be?
I am so excited.
I can give you a hand job.
I'm going to get a hand job. And I'm going to get the hand job. I may even sneak in like a 6-pack of beer.
Oh,
some snacks.
Some Schlitz.
Right? So you can be my designated driver and I can drink some PBR while you're giving me a hand job.
Oh, this is awesome. That is awesome. Or write a letter to each other. Or find out each other's love language. There's a book about love language. Find out, like, my love language is words of positivity, and yours is touch. Yours is physical touch.
Yes.
I don't give a fuck if you ever touch me again.
Lots of touch, I like. Yes, lots of touch.
So sit down and brainstorm with your significant other, like all the things that you think would invigorate and just open up the world to like new experiences, because it's going to invigorate your marriage or your relationship.
And it's doing it with intention, right? It really breaks up the everyday stuff that you're used to doing
100%
and gives you something to look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 2, make each other your number one priority. I think this is so hard for people that are married, don't you think?
Yeah, it really is, because everything, kids, work, family,
pulling
obligations,
you everywhere.
Everything's pulling your attention. And it's like you kind of get like, well, I have to go do this because I got to do, make the needle move or whatever.
Yep.
And you can lose sight of each other. And that is a big problem, especially when you have two people that own businesses that are highly driven, and we love progress. But what good is the progress? And I always say to Katie, I say, Katie, no matter what I achieve or what I do, if I can't pick up the phone and say, hey, babe, guess what just happened? Or when I come home and I say, hey, this happened at the studio or this happened. Who cares?
Who can you celebrate your big wins with?
Why am I doing it? Right?
Absolutely.
The reason I'm doing things is for my family. You're my family. And that's the reason why I get up in the morning, is to be able to celebrate and have these things together.
Totally. Yeah. And then 3, the Imago method.
The Imago method.
So there's a book called Getting the Love That You Want by Dr. Harville Hendricks.
Yes.
And I think it really, in a lot of ways, made our marriage so much stronger, because now we have this incredible way to dialogue. So we want to teach you guys. I mean, obviously, pick up the book. It's amazing.
Yes.
You could just Google him, and there's tons of videos that he talks about. But so the Imago method means the mirror image in I think Latin or Greek or something like that. I can't remember. I think it's Greek.
Yes.
And what you're saying is, so say like Matt and I will get into a disagreement at home. And, instead of like killing each other, which we normally would do.
Because we didn't know any better.
No, we just shred each other for hours and all of a sudden get so tired and be like, what were we fighting about? What we do now is like, so if Matt gets upset with me, he'll say to me, Katie, I want to dialogue right now. So that's the first step. Saying to your partner, I want to dialogue right now. And then what he'll say to me is, it really makes me feel bad when you say this to me. It hurts my feelings. Okay, so then he says that to me. So I mirror back to him and I say, so what I'm hearing you say, Matt, is when I do this thing to you, it really hurts your feelings. And then I say, is there more? And if there's more, that he's like, okay, and now I have a couple other things I want to throw in there because you pissed me off 3 days ago and I still haven't told you about it. He might say, yes, there's more. And he'll put in his next 2 cents. And then I'll say, so what you're saying is this. And then he'll say, yes. And I'll say, is there more? And then if he says no, then we can both get it out there and then come to a conclusion and then move on.
Katie, what if he just keeps going and there's
It
always more?
Happened before.
It's happened.
Really?
Yes.
But know what I noticed is when we started when it happens, sometimes, I'm not as open as Katie. She'll tell me right away and she'll imago me right at the beginning.
I'll imago you right now.
She'll imago me right to the bitter end.
Yes.
But, know what I really noticed that I love about the imago method is that the minute I say I want a dialogue,
we both start laughing.
You all of a sudden light up. And I think you light up because it's like I'm actually taking the time to say, yeah, this is important. I don't want this to fester.
Yeah.
So right away, you're more receptive.
So receptive, and it's almost like whatever it is, we're going to fix it. And so it already sets the intention of a solution instead of holding this stuff out. And I noticed that because we had a Mago this morning, and I go, I have to dialogue. And she's still, okay, yes, Matt. And I just saw her eyes sparkle. And I'm like, well, this is what you did and whatever it was. And she mirrored it back to me. And then I had one more thing, not 10, but one more thing. And then she says, oh, and you're also saying this. And I go, absolutely.
But what happened yesterday when we were magoing, when we were downstairs doing work? So I was imagoing with him.
She's getting me mad.
And I was getting so mad at him
about my imagoing.
The imago method means that you're going to mirror back to me exactly what I said because that means you are hearing it.
I can't twist it around.
So I abbreviated
I can't say, Katie, what you misunderstood.
100%.
No.
So yesterday, like we were magoing and I would say like, Matt, it really hurts my feelings because I feel like you don't understand how much work goes into this thing that I'm doing and you take it for granted.
Yes.
And he says, so what you're saying is, I take things for granted. And I was like, bitch, you just left out 35 things that I said. This went on for like 10 minutes.
And I said, bitch, you're saying bitch, right? So it takes work.
You don't become a perfect imago
I'm
method
imagoing
person.
the best I can. And you know something? I noticed the results and I am in it and I am working it.
Yes.
And this guy is a freaking genius.
Yes, Harville, we love you.
What if you're talking to somebody that's like a funhouse mirror, right?
Yes.
As I am, right?
Right.
Hello.
What you said was this, and it's completely misshapen.
Distorted. Oh, yeah.
And we find like
happens sometimes.
It really does bring. And I'm not the guru with this by any means.
No, but we're becoming gurus.
We're becoming gurus at it. And I'll tell you something. It is awesome.
Yeah.
And because the effects of it, you'll have a laugh. You'll get the stuff out that you need to say. You're going to bumble it. You're going to make a mistake with it. Get the book. Read it. It is awesome.
Yeah.
And we've been doing it, and it has really taken our marriage to the next level.
Totally.
So I suggest it.
Yes. Number 4, you got to schedule your booty calls. Because I don't want to fuck if I smell like old cheese.
Yeah, you never do, but...
No, but seriously, you ever like in high school where like you're at a party and people just fucked in the bedroom at a party and you walk in and it smells like cat food and hurt feelings?
I never
Do you know what I'm saying?
I was probably giving my buddy the thumbs up or something.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, buddy.
Dude, I never know what's
Hashtag
going
me too,
on.
Matt. Hashtag me too.
Why can't I
compliment
compliment my friend on making beautiful love? There's nothing wrong with that. That's how we were made, for God's sake.
But seriously, guys, if you are like remember back in the day where we were just like had mad passionate love, and now we've been married for 10 years and it's like dry as a bone down there. You got to schedule the booty calls. You got to say, okay, on every Tuesday and every Thursday and whatever, maybe on a weekend if you're feeling a little randy, schedule the time to do it, because honestly, like, if it's just not in this day and age,
you can get caught up. If you're
it's not days of our lives anymore.
If you're a high achiever and you're doing things, or you're working a lot of hours and you have kids and you have all these other things. Oh my God,
your kids are sleeping in bed with you. Your dogs are sleeping in bed with you.
You have to make the time. You got to say, hey, babe, Wednesday, let's make some time to make love.
Matt, here's a tip for you. Even if it's scheduled, no still means no.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes,
thank you.
But then I have proof, because it's in our record here of documents.
No, it's on the schedule.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And it's like, I want to shave my legs.
Yeah.
I want to shave my pits.
Yeah.
You need to nair your whole entire body, and it has to be clean as Astroglide.
It's a process.
It's a process,
right? I have a process I have to go through myself. I mean, I don't come out here looking like this just because I, just wake up and throw a shirt on.
I woke up like this. Flawless.
It takes a lot of work.
Right, it does. It takes a lot of work to be Matt Babine.
I want to make sure that I'm the best and
and that your belly button doesn't smell like lint and old feet.
I may have to do a few breathing exercises.
Oh my God. But guys,
blood flow.
Seriously, sit down with your love partner and be like, hey, when we going to do the deeds? Because we haven't fucked since the Reagan administration. What the hell?
That would be a bad situation. And
but how many people that like, they're like, oh, I haven't had sex with my wife in 6 years.
Not good.
No, Matt, you hear this all the time.
I hear it, yeah.
And I'm literally like, your wife is so hot. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And if you're not screwing her, you're screwing someone else.
Yeah. Eventually will happen.
Yeah.
So you have to make that time. It's a need.
Okay.
And it's one of my needs.
If you want to go back a couple podcasts, Matt said he doesn't say need, but when it comes to banging, he needs it.
That's a need.
You're a filthy animal. All right, last but not least, 5, mastermind together. Have definite purpose with your marriage. You do not get married just to have kids and clean up the dishes and like scrub the friggin' toilets and die.
No.
Right?
No.
Know why you're together.
And pay bills. No. You have to know why you're together and have a definite purpose of the marriage.
Yes.
And always talk about what the purpose is. The purpose may change, things may change, but know where you're going as a couple.
Right.
And make sure that you stay in there and keep the passion alive. Meaning, the little gifts and, a marriage is always courting each other.
Yes.
And I think when it really starts to, go down the drain, is when you just take everything for granted and not pay attention to your spouse. And that's key. And when you mastermind together every single day, you're taking time together at that moment.
Totally.
And hopefully it doesn't end up in an imago.
Oh, God. I need dialogue right now, Matt. I need dialogue right now. So I hope you guys out there in Ambitchious land, the man bitches and the ambitches, all are having the love that you desire. And like I always say, thank you for stepping out here every week, making Ambitchious the movement that it is. And
Tuesday
like I always say, see you next Tuesday. Get the fuck out of here. Bye, bitches.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.